handcrafted baked goods and home-roasted coffee are just some of the treats here at the Sawhorse Cafe in Williamsport. We stopped by for a bite. Well, I'm here with Hannah Darrow of the Sawhorse Cafe. She's the co-owner, and it is so much fun to be here with you today.
Thank you so much for being here.
Now, you make amazing foods. You make so many different things here, and everything kind of has a healthy, wholesome flair to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, we definitely want to get whatever is in season, as much local produce as we can.
Yeah.
We source from dozens of local farms and producers for everything from our vegetables to our fruits. Even our oil that we use for cooking is local. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Today you're going to make what for us?
I am going to make some strawberry lemon scones. Strawberries are in season right now, and these ones that we have came from Quaff Meadows, which is in central PA.
All right, well, let's get started, Hannah.
All right, so we're going to start with about 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
All right, sounds good.
It's about 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, about a half teaspoon of salt. I'm using kosher salt, but you could use table salt too. And then about 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar.
I love scones. Scones are fun because, I mean, you could use them for breakfast. They can be dessert. You know, a little treat, you know, put
any time of day.
Jam on them and butter. Oh, they're so good.
We've got our dry ingredients there, and we're gonna mix up our wet ingredients.
Okay.
So we just have 1 egg. I'm just using this little plastic container, but you could certainly use a bowl. We have about 1/3 of a cup of buttermilk and a few tablespoons of whole milk. Just gonna give those a little stir with a fork. So I just pulled this butter out of the fridge.
All right.
We're gonna use, this is a little bit more than a stick, but our butter comes in big chunks. So
Okay.
it would be a stick of butter if you were using.
Now, is
just
it,
a home
it's
cook.
unsalted, right?
Unsalted butter, yes. And I like to use a cheese grater to cut in my butter because
Oh, interesting.
it makes it so that you don't have to handle it so much. You don't melt the butter.
Yeah.
So your scones would be nice and light
Very
in texture.
different. I like this.
I'm just gonna sort of lightly toss this flour mixture that I have
All right.
and the butter together, you know, break up any big clumps that you've got. All right, and then last thing before we add our strawberries is just the zest of 1 lemon. So now I'm just sort of breaking up that zest that I put in there.
It's so fragrant, isn't it?
It smells great. And then I've got 1 cup of small diced strawberries. And again, just sort of toss those around. We'll add our wet ingredients. So this is our buttermilk, milk, and egg mixture.
Okay.
We're just gonna stir everything up a little bit, try and get the wet ingredients kind of incorporated there before we turn this out onto our table. Push that out there onto the table.
Beautiful.
Get every last bit of it so we
There's a lot of strawberries in there, which is awesome.
Yes, so many strawberries. Shape our dough up here together.
Okay. I feel like you're not being like super harsh with it either.
No, you're being pretty gentle. So what we're looking for is just for the dough to kind of come together enough that you can shape it into a disc.
Now, how many scones will we get from this recipe?
We will get 6 scones out of this recipe, which
Okay.
is good for a family,
Yeah.
good for our little shop here.
Perfect, yeah. Now, you serve breakfast here and lunch?
We do. We serve breakfast and lunch, and we roast all of our own coffee. We have a tiny little roaster in the back there.
Probably the best cup of coffee in town, I bet, right?
We think so, but to each their own. All right, so we've got a nice little disc here. I'm gonna score first before I cut so that I make sure they're all roughly the same size. Honestly, sometimes feels like it takes the longest. That's the longest step.
You forget that you don't roll out the dough when you're doing a scone.
So I think I've got 6
looks
even
good.
looking pieces there. So we've got our 6 scones there. We're gonna put these on a parchment lined cookie sheet. And what I have here is just 1 egg white mixed with about a tablespoon of water.
Okay.
We're just gonna brush the tops of these, and that'll give them a nice sort of shiny
they look finished,
top.
don't you think, when they have
Yeah, they look a lot nicer.
Yeah.
And then I have just a tiny bit more granulated sugar.
Oh,
We can sprinkle on the top.
Oh, these are just beautiful.
And so they're ready to go in the oven. You can bake them at, I would say 425 for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. It just really depends on your oven. And turn them once, you know, sort of in the middle of your baking process.
All right, sounds good. They are fresh out of the oven and looking perfect.
Yes, they look great. And now we're just gonna make a little lemon glaze to put on top.
Nice.
So I have about a cup of powdered sugar.
Okay.
And then I have that lemon that we use the zest for.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
And we'll start with half of the lemon.
And of course you're making your own homemade glaze. Of course
This
you
is
are.
the fun part, I think. All right, so you want it to be not super thick, but you want it to hold its shape
Okay.
a little bit. Just enough that you can sort of pick some up on a whisk
I see.
so that you can glaze it.
All right, so you're almost like a nice drizzle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we're just gonna go one by one and sort of pick some up on our whisk here,
Oh, how pretty.
sort of drizzle back and
Yep.
forth.
Oh,
You
they
can
look-
get creative.
Yeah.
And there you have it. These are our strawberry lemon scones from the Sawhorse Cafe.
Well, these look fantastic. And I know you have a lot of other fantastic things on the menu. Why don't you tell us about it?
So our menu rotates monthly right now. We've got all kinds of different breakfast and lunch items, soups, salads. Breakfast is served all day. We're open 8 to 2, Thursdays
nice.
through Mondays. So anything is available whenever you got a craving for it. So we are at 303 Washington Boulevard in Williamsport. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We post our menu to both of those sites.
Good stuff. So once again, it's the Sawhorse Cafe right here in Williamsport. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thanks so
It was
much,
a lot
Jackie.
of fun.